Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to another Friday recommendation of sorts for a film which I'm surprised I never got around to until recently when dealing with being sick for a few days, and I needed to take a break from endlessly binging a bunch of shows that I was trying to catch up on while sleeping half of the day away for an actual film this time. Yes, which is for The Hidden from 1987, starring many recognizable faces, but Kyle Maclachlan is the one that really stuck out the most for me since just a few years later he played an FBI agent on Twin Peaks, as he does in this film as well, playing an FBI agent for which the synopsis of this film is as follows. A cop and an FBI agent race for answers after law-abiding people suddenly become violent criminals. And boy, do they become violent criminals, opening up with a man robbing a bank, gunning people down, racing through the city on this wild and deadly chase. A man played by none other than Chris Mulkey, who was also in Twin Peaks as Hank Jennings. Side note, this guy's been in like 278 films. Crazy busy. But anyways, non-spoiler as it's literally the opening scene here, but Mulkey's character gets taken out, dies in the hospital, and this is where the story really starts and gets really strange. This slug-like thing kind of emerges from his mouth in all of its glorious gooey 80s practical effects kind of way and crawls into the body of a man next to him in the hospital. Aliens. Okay, so now this man heads out to go on a rampage of his own, or I should say this alien continues its I'll do whatever tickles my fancy kind of crime spree now in the body of this other man. Robbing, killing, just seeking out what can I take as mine next. Throwing the cops for a loop as they just can't figure out why these people, as of course they see them as separate people doing this, being on these rampages rather than the same entity in each body at this point. These people with no criminal records would suddenly just seemingly snap and get into all this trouble. And in quick succession, one guy's taken out, and then very quickly afterwards you get reports of similar crimes happening by somebody else as that alien's hopping from body to body. So Maclachlan shows up as he's from the FBI, and he's been tracking this man for several years. He's very stiff, very by the book kind of, but also really withholding details that the cop feels that he needs to help him out in this case, having the FBI come in. And actually us as the audience really would like to know as well. So he does slowly let this information out. History about this case, what effect this criminal's actions have had on his life, on his family's lives, his partners, and so on. But that, stiffness isn't all. He's also just very odd in general, like a duck out of water in several aspects, several things, not just in the way he speaks, but in the way that he acts. Now, eventually he does let out that this is an extraterrestrial that he is chasing, how it changes from, or moves from body to body, when they need to try to attack it, when it's going to be vulnerable during all of this, and even what kind of strange sci-fi weapon needs to be used to take it out, and so on. So at its heart, we get kind of a buddy cop situation mixed with the odd couple investigating this case, with a very heavy slathering of sci-fi all over it since it focuses on this alien entity. Now this film also just brings this overall feel of the 80s with it, as it takes place in and was filmed in and around the LA area, rather than these days where everything seems to be Atlanta, Vancouver, or Romania, or somewhere else. As we see that so often these days. This was actually filmed there, so we have a lot of 80s sports cars like Porsches and Ferraris and Lamborghinis. We have they're all prominent in these sprees, these races through these downtown areas, a lot of local sites, MacArthur Park, several other surrounding areas too. And we also get many recognizable faces from that time and afterward, such as we have Claudia Christian in this, later of Babylon 5 fame, playing this exotic dancer. Some other cops in this are played by Clarence Felder from films such as Ruthless People, which I did a video for, and Elm Street 5, which I also did a video for as well. Clu Gallagher from Return of the Living Dead, Edo Ross from Lethal Weapon, and I've seen him in tons of other things. And Richard Brooks from one of my favorite episodes of the series Firefly. We also have Dwayne Davis, who you may recognize from films such as Beetlejuice and Summer School, and Lynn Shay even shows up in this one as well, who was super sweet when I got to meet her at a convention a few years back. But for those who have seen this, yes, I am leaving out a very specific detail about this story, because I liked going in not knowing what that was. I kind of needing to figure it out. Not that it was hard. You kind of catch on pretty early. If you know, you know. But all in all, I'd say that this one was a nice one to track down. You know, this cop films like these from that time period were always a lot of fun in and of themselves, whether they were from like the Lethal Weapon series or some of the others from the 80s. They're just really a lot of fun. They have a very specific kind of aura about them. But then when you throw this sci-fi aspect on top of this one, and you throw in the cast that's involved, this one was definitely more than worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out my latest very quick video this time for The Hidden, which at the time of this video is only on paid rental, but I feel it was worth dropping a couple bucks for and sitting down to. But, you know, be on the lookout on Just Watch or something. It may pop up onto another streaming service someday soon. IMDb has it listed as a 7 out of 10, which I would agree with. You know, it's good, not great, but definitely worth checking out and all that. So if it sounds interesting, give it a watch if you're looking for something to check out this weekend. Anyways, that's all I've got for this short one. I wanted to put up something longer, but for those few who follow me on Instagram, you may have seen that I was quite under the weather for several days and literally only felt better at the time of this recording about 24 hours ago. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, thanks for coming by and sticking around to the end. There are some links coming up in a moment if you want to check out some other videos of mine. And if you enjoyed, as always, give me a thumbs up. And if not already subscribed, consider subscribing. And I will see you in the next one.